Hi everybody, welcome back to another week of book recommendations. We are on week 3, so if you have your bingo card, you can find the week 3 square, and if you choose any of these books and write the book review and bring it in, you will get credit for that week 3 square, and it might just get you one more step closer to bingo! Well, I hope you have been enjoying these and maybe found a book or two to read along. I'm going to give you a new set today. Remember, you don't have to do books from every single week in order to get bingo, but if you're looking for new things to read and new adventures to have, this is a great place to find out some books that you might not find right on the brand new shelf, because I'm pulling books from all across the collection, books that I've read before, books that other kids have read and have really enjoyed. So you're going to have a lot of different choices every week for the next few weeks. Okay, so let's start with our picture books this week. The first book is called Chickens to the Rescue, and it's by John Himmelman, and it is a series. There's pigs to the rescue and some other farm animals to the rescue, cows to the rescue. So I'm starting with Chickens to the Rescue because I believe that's the first one. And this is one of my storytime favorites. I love reading this book because it's fun, because every other page we get to say, "Chickens to the rescue!" Every time the farmer gets himself into trouble or other farm animals get themselves into trouble, the chickens really want to help. So they have all these great ideas. The first thing is that the farmer dropped his watch down the well, and there you can see the little chicken hearing about it, and he brings all his friends to the rescue. So it's a fun and silly story, but it has a great message because the chickens want to help every chance they can get. And don't you want to help others? I'm sure you do. So, Chickens to the Rescue is our first one. Then we keep with our chicken theme, and we have a little chick. His name is Peep Squeak, and it's by Leslie Ann Clark. And this story actually is all about perseverance and sticking with something when you put your mind to it. So little Peep Squeak here, he wants to fly. And so he keeps trying and trying, even though all the other animals tell him it's not going to happen. But guess what? He keeps trying, and I think you might find that he actually finds a way to fly. So you'll have to check out the story. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so you'll have to check it out. But Peep Squeak's super cute, and he has a really great message about keeping at it and working hard and being creative and thinking of ways to make your dreams come true. Okay, so there's Peep Squeak. Our next picture book, this is kind of an oldie but a goodie, and especially with the beautiful illustrations coming along, and we're doing a lot of animal themes for this summer, so this would be a great one to read again in the summertime. This is called Adventure on Cleopatra Island, and it's by Hilary Hord Hipley and Barbara Upton. So this is a story all about a little boy and his teddy bear, and it's a very dark and stormy night. Not a night that you can always fall asleep too easily. And he hears a cry for help, and his bear is going to go up and help. So what do? They get in their boat and they row off to this island, and they find that there's trouble there. All the animals are cold and scared, and they want a place to stay, so they help them. So as you can see, the pictures are just fabulous, and the depictions of the animals are so great, and you will have to hold on and see how everybody works together to solve the problem. That's a nice and a fun story that we like to read. This one's a little newer. This one's a new favorite of mine. This is Mother Bruce by Ryan T. Higgins. You see this grumpy old bear? His name is Bruce. And he goes off looking for breakfast. And when he goes and finds some eggs, he thinks he's going to cook them. But can you tell from the cover what happens? Do you think he actually cooks the eggs? What happens? Boop, boop, boop. They hatch, and they think he is their mama. So, is he really that grumpy? We'll have to read the story to find out, but he ends up taking care of those cute little goslings. All right, those were our picture books. Let's move on to our easy reader stack this week. The first one is our Bumble and Bee, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Here's another grumpy little character by Ross Burak. And this is another new Easy Reader series, and it's really bright and colorful. It's one of the Acorn Scholastic series. And you can see it's kind of in a graphic novel format. It's got the word bubbles and the squares here so that you can see all the different pictures and follow along. And there's the toad, who's not so happy, but the bees are. So you'll have to read the story to find out what that is. But it has some great vocabulary. It really will help you expand your reading, and it's a really fun one to try if you're looking for a new Easy Reader series. Okay? All right, here we go. Classic favorite, great character, Pete the Cat. And this one is The Groovy Bake Sale by James Dean. So this one is an I Can Read book in the series, and it's kind of on, the younger side. So if you're just getting confident in your reading, you can see it's about 1 to 2 sentences per page, and of course lots of great illustrations, just like we were comfortable with in all the Pete the Cat books. And he has a bake sale going on that he wants to bake something delicious for, but he finds out that baking is not so easy. Anybody who's ever tried to bake something, you find out pretty quickly there's a lot of work to it too, right? It's not so easy. So you can follow along with Pete the Cat. So here we go. Pete the Cat and The Groovy Bake Sale is our another week 3 recommendation. Okay, continuing on with our baking and cooking theme, we have Funny Lunch. And Funny Lunch is by David Catrow. And again, fantastic illustrations in here. And we have this really silly, funny dog named Max. And he says he's not a dog. Instead, he says he's a great chef. So you'll have to go ahead and read through to find out if he really is such a great chef. I don't know if that's how you would roll out pizza dough, but I guess that's how he does it. Look at that. So this one's a really funny one. You can take a look, and it's always great to read a funny story, especially when you're learning to read, because it makes it that much more fun to learn new words and learn new stories. So Funny Lunch. All right. Our last one in the Easy Reader collection is another series. It's Wallace and Grace, and this is Wallace and Grace Take the Case. So this is the first one. Heather Alexander is the author. It's illustrated by Laura Zarin. And this is one of those easy chapters. So again, as you're getting to be a more confident reader here, you're going to be able to have some simple chapters. There's 4 chapters in this book. But again, you have lots of more sentences on the page, but still some really fabulous illustrations. And if you like mysteries and like solving mysteries, this one might be a good one for you, because they have a friend who thinks they saw a ghost in their garden, and they have to figure out, is that a real ghost, or where it is, or who it is, and what is the big mystery surrounding the ghost. So, Wallace and Grace Take the Case. Check it out. All right, now we're going to move on to our chapter books. This week we're starting with Captain Awesome. So this is Captain Awesome Gets Crushed. This is one of the books, and this is actually number 9 in the series. So I just grabbed one that was kind of close. It's a little bit about Valentine's Day, and how he considers it the most evil holiday of all the holidays. So I grabbed this one, but there are lots of Captain Awesome books. So if you can't get this one and you want to read another Captain Awesome, that's totally fine. That will count towards your week 3 square. So I'll read you just a quick little bit from the inside. Eugene and Charlie have realized that the worst, most evil holiday ever is approaching. Valentine's Day. It's a day filled with frilly decorations, heart-shaped signs, and worst of all, pink. But when Charlie and Sally both get yummy candy and notes from secret admirers, Eugene starts to feel left out. Is this part of an evil plan to defeat the Sunnyview superhero squad once and for all? Will Captain Awesome survive Valentine's Day? I don't know. What do you think? This is what it looks like. It's got some really great words on the page, still has some illustrations, nice large text, so it's easy to follow along. So especially if you're just getting into chapter books, this one might be a fun one, and I think probably a little bit funny one to check out. So we've got Captain Awesome. All right, This one's a little bit more serious, and as we're kind of heading into spring and April and thinking about even Earth Day coming up, this one might be a good one to take a look at. This is by Louis Sakar, who also wrote the Newbery winner Holes, and it's called Fuzzy Mud. So this is a little bit of what we call science fiction. It talks about a scenario that could happen in real life, perhaps, and it's talking about a scientific phenomenon that hasn't really happened yet, but it's very plausible that it could be found. So this is about a character who goes for a walk in the woods near his home, where there is a chemical plant also near their town, and notices some very, very strange mud growing in the forest. And so people start to get sick. So it's kind of interesting to find out how they go along, and it does tell the story from two points of view. One of the main character, who's Tamaya Dewaldi, and seventh grader Marshall Walsh, that they have been their experiences, but it also tells the story from an actual trial that's taking place in a court. So you kind of have both of those elements to it. And so very interesting, exposes a lot of environmental concerns if you're like into that kind of thing. And you can find out a lot about how trials work too. That's part of this as well. Okay, so that's Fuzzy Mud. Now we have another kind of sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy kind of situation going on with Jennifer Holm, and this is called The 14th Goldfish. And it says, believe in thee, and it says impossible, but it's crossed out, it says possible. So this story is, I'm going to read you the inside cover a little bit. She is an amazing child, and she loves science. So 11-year-old Ellie never liked change. She misses 5th grade. She misses her old best friend. She even misses her dearly departed goldfish. Then, one day, a strange boy shows up. He's bossy, he's cranky, and weirdly, he looks a lot like Ellie's grandfather, a scientist who has been obsessed with immortality. Could this gawky teenager really be Grandpa Melvin? Has he finally discovered the secret to eternal youth? Sometimes science can go too far. Wow. So Ellie is living at home, and all of a sudden someone shows up and says that they are her grandfather. I wonder if he did find the secret to turning back time, and instead of being a grandpa, being a teenager? I don't know if I'd want to go back there, but you can check out this story. It's really great. It's awesomely told, and it makes you think about the idea of, would you, if you could, be somebody else? Okay, so check that one out, The 14th Goldfish. All right, our last one for this week is called Nuts to You. Lynn Ray Perkins is our author, and this one is actually told from the squirrel's perspective. Have you ever thought about what it's like to be a squirrel? Have you ever thought about what life is like for them running around out there collecting nuts all day? Well, these characters are awesome, and they are going to show you. There's 4 friends here, and what happens is one of them has the worst fate a squirrel could have. He gets snatched up by a hawk. But instead of becoming the hawk's lunch, he figures out a way to get away. And he drops in an unfamiliar woods. And even though he meets other squirrels, they're not part of his neighborhood, and they don't really understand each other all that well right away. So he has to figure out how to get home. Meanwhile, his 3 friends who saw him fly off with the hawk are convinced that he's still out there and he needs help. So they go off looking for him on an adventure. And between the 4 of them, they discover something that could really impact all of their whole family and community. They find out that there are people in the forest who are cutting down trees. So again, this one has a little bit of an environmental message to it, but it's told in such an amazing way from the squirrel's point of view, and it has a lot to do with being really good friends, believing each other, and believing that you can make a difference. So, Nuts to You is a fantastic story, and I hope one of these stories sounds really good to you, and that you will be able to fill another square on your bingo card with one of these. All right, we'll see you guys next time. I hope you guys are reading, and getting closer and closer to your bingo. See you guys next time. Bye.